Hi guys, I'm Emer. I'm your Vice President for Wellbeing and Equality this year, and I'm here with the rest of the team. So we have...
I'm Natália. I'm Wellbeing Support.
Hi, I'm Marcello. I'm a Wellbeing Support as well.
Hi, I'm Charly. I'm the Wellbeing and Equality Officer.
And I'm Hamza, and I'm the Welfare Officer with the Student Experience Team.
So just for the podcast today, it's kind of the introductory one. So we just wanted to talk about what does positive mental health mean to us. So Charly, do you want to talk about your definition?
My definition of positive mental health. I would say it's a state of well-being, like when I feel good, like internally and externally. So like when I'm at home, when I'm like, oh, I'm happy, but also when others perceive, oh, like she looks happy, like she doesn't look sad or anxious or anything. And I would also say it's a state in which I can accomplish a lot of things. I think if I'm not positive, like healthy, like my well-being wouldn't be healthy, that would make sense, but yeah, then I can't accomplish like my highest potential.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also as well being able to have the ability to deal with the bad things in life as well. So it's not always just being 100% positive. I think positive mental health means that you're able to deal with both sides of the spectrum in terms of life.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. I agree with that, yeah. I feel it's not like when, oh, I'm happy, so then I'm okay. Sometimes you can be happy but not feeling well, like internally. So I feel like sometimes just how you manage, like how you deal with it, like, okay, today I'm sad, have to embrace yourself in a way like, it's okay to be sad, but what can I do to feel better?
Yeah.
You know, that's, yeah.
And kind of having those skills to be able to adapt to whatever life throws at you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important to embrace every single feeling you have. It's part of you, and all of them are valid. Remember that, dear listener.
No, and it's a really important point you raised there, is that you have to first acknowledge it. You can't hide from your emotions, you can't hide from your feelings. You may try to do that, but ultimately it will show in your body language, it will show in your expressions, it will show in your relationships, it will show in every aspect of your life, because you can't hide that. So the best thing to do is do acknowledge it for yourself first, that, you know what, I'm not feeling my best today. At least if you've acknowledged it, then you're aware of it, and then you can start doing something. But if you try and put it behind you and like try to forget about it, that can usually in the long run, that has a more negative impact. So yeah, and it would kind of tie in everything you guys have kind of said there, where it's like, you know, it's not just positive just by pure mental health sake, but also you're trying to be healthy as well with what you're doing, getting good sleep, eating well, all those things, and then that translates into the rest of your life as well, and feeling kind of more mental health positive as well.
Yeah. I really like what Hamza just said about that, like you have to acknowledge that you're maybe not okay before you can actually start improving your mental health.
Yeah, you have to know like what's going on.
Otherwise,
and then you do something about it.
Yeah.
But sometimes still, I know it's very hard. Even like we're very busy. We're student, and then we have part-time job and all stuff. Sometimes it's hard to find like time in your day to feel like, okay, like how am I feeling today? You know, I think it's nice to kind of like put kind of like time of the day for you to kind of like
take a
your
step
body
back in your day to like see, okay, how am I doing today?
But as well, sometimes it's okay as well to know that, to not know why you're feeling sad. Sometimes you're just feeling down, you're feeling sad, you need to like curl up on the couch with a few dogs, that's what I do. And just like not knowing why is okay as well. If you can know why, that's great if you're able to identify the cause, but if you don't,
that's okay as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll have workshops on that as well, actually, coming up. So you'll actually be able to learn and identify your stressors and your triggers in terms of, okay, what sets it off. And sometimes if you're like, you know, if you're finding it difficult to identify that for yourself, then what you need to do is go an even step further back and actually learn the skills. And, you know, you can come to the workshops to learn them as well. But you'll actually figure out like, okay, how do I identify what is the thing that, you know, set it all off in motion? What was the first domino? And then once you're able to identify the first domino in the whole kind of chain, you're able to then put things in place to help you manage that, help you cope that, help you work through that.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll be able to avoid certain triggers of things that you know are going to make you feel more anxious or kind of have an impact on your mental health. Which leads me on to my next question. So Marcello, what is What is one thing you must do for your mental health before leaving the house? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but
For my mental health, I like to, well, I do not make my bed. I know I should, but I don't, because my room, it's also a representation of my mental health. But I do start with brushing my teeth, because if I'm starting the day with whatever it was there, I don't know. I think a fresher
fresh
start of the day, it helps a little
Alright.
bit. That in a shower, my God,
Yeah.
needed.
What do you do, Natalia?
Well, I'm just thinking now. I usually just like put some music on. You know, sometimes I just feel like very tired, and then I feel like, oh my God, what if I stay home today? You know, just like,
Yeah.
what happens if I don't go?
Yeah. And what if
And
I quit
then-
my job?
And then I feel like, Natalia, come on, like you have to go. And then I just put some music on. It depends on my mood. Like sometimes I just want to put like Rihanna, Beyonce.
Hype yourself
Sometimes
up.
it's just like, you know, yeah. So it helps me a lot.
My favourite one for whenever I'm going out, I always play Man Eater by Nelly Furtado. That's
Oh,
my,
that's such
when
a
I'm
good
doing my
one.
makeup and getting my hair ready for going out, I'm like, that's the song I need.
Puts you in the boss mode.
Yeah. No, I would have said listening to music as well. Just, I don't know, any happy song that kind of gets me going, because I feel like any sort of task that I need to do in the morning, whether I need to do it or whether I want to do it, it's so much nicer and easier if there's a little bit of like good vibes in the background.
And then you'd be there like on your own concert. It's like, yay, whatever. Singing. And it's like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, and then you get at the bus and then just feel like, you see, yeah, that's okay. I'm not even that tired. And then when you're way home and just feel like, I did it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, all my tasks are just like done for today.
And it wasn't a big deal at all.
It wasn't. Yeah, sometimes our mind just like trick us. Like,
What's interesting in the things that you guys have pointed out there, and it's something I try and work on with students, is that a lot of the stuff you're talking about there actually is more discipline than just purely the mental health side. And the reason for it is because, man, who wants to wake up on a wet, cold day and then be like, oh, I have to go take the bus, I have to go do this? Because it could be very easy to turn around and say, you know, I'm just going to stay in bed today. I'm going to turn off my phone and I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm going to, and we all get those days where we feel like that, and it's entirely normal to feel like that. But then it's like, okay, what are the motivating factors that take us out of that? You know, the heaviest thing in the world is the blanket, because it's very difficult to get that blanket off you and to get up and go.
Yeah.
And it can be. There are those days. I don't care how much you can bench press. Doesn't matter if you're a bodybuilder or Mr. Universe. Even they have those days where the blanket is the heaviest thing on the planet. And that comes from the mental side. But what gets them through that? And what's gotten you guys through those moments as well is that the discipline is there. Is that, you know what? Certain things I have to do. I have to get done. And then the rest of the stuff will follow. And if you keep a good routine, keep a good discipline, that will set your day off better. Because then once you have that routine, there's no surprises that can come in. Because a lot of people, if you're not organized, if you're not structured, it's the surprises that throw you off. Because then you're like, oh, I got to cope with this now, or I got to cope with that. Whereas like, well, actually, if you have your routine and you have your things set in place, then, you know, there's not many surprises that can come out of that. Like, you're going to brush your teeth, there's not a lot of surprises that can happen there.
I hope
But
not.
it's an achievement.
that would be disturbing.
One day you have a dream where your teeth are brushing you, and it just becomes this whole thing. But the thing is, and like, people are like, oh, but it's brushing teeth, or it's making your bed. No, the logic behind it is that you've already completed a task. That discipline-wise and by like routine-wise, you've already completed something. And for me, it's a complete opposite though. So for me, my routine is in the evening time. So I would have my shower, and then right before I go to bed, I always have a cupcake or like a dessert. So either rice pudding or I have a little mini cheesecake.
Like a reward, nearly.
I don't know how it started, but I got into this thing in my head where it was like, no matter how the day is, I want to end it on like a sweet note or a positive note or something. And then it just became this thing of where like, I'm going to eat this as it's my dessert for the day, or like it's my deserved treat or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I've got it, I've treated myself, now I can go to bed. And it's just like this thing that I trained myself to doing. And then it just became like a habit, and then stuff I started doing. But the thing is, the days where I don't have it, I can't fall asleep for hours. So I have to drive down and go get like an ice cream from the petrol station. But look, have a routine that works for you. Not every routine is going to work for all the population, but try it. You know, see what works for you. See what gives you that kind of peace of mind, and that gives you that kind of, you know, calmness.
one thing that I also like to do in the mornings, like if it's a rainy day or it's just a miserable day where I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed, I know I have an assignment to do, I have an exam ahead of me, I like to think of one thing that's positive about the day, like something that I'm excited for. I don't know, it can be something super simple, like I know when I finish this exam I'm gonna treat myself for lunch, or I'm gonna see a friend, I'm gonna have a nice chat to a person that I haven't seen in a while, like whatever it is. I like having something that I can look forward to get me like over or through like a difficult task.
I'll use that to plug 2 of the workshops that are going to be coming up. So the one is on practicing gratitude, okay, and the other one is practicing mindfulness. And you kind of demonstrated both of those being implemented together, where you're mindfully aware of how you're feeling at that time, at that place, in that situation. But then you're practicing one of the skills of like coping, which is gratitude. And those little things actually help build upon your kind of mental health resource, because you need separate sets of skills for these things, you know, and you're going to rely on different resources to get you through that. So definitely when you see the workshops going live, guys, do come and attend them, because for maybe some of you this is second nature and you can do this, but and it's not the same for everyone, and we want to teach everyone how to use these skills.
I can't wait for the workshop.
But I think it's good as well to know that like we're not getting up at 6 a.m. to go for our runs and everything. It doesn't have to be something like that in the morning.
I haven't gone for one in a year.
You see on Instagram, you wake up like 6:30 and then you just get your phone and then you see people just like, I'm here training. You're just like, wow.
They
Actually,
walk the dogs, gone to the gym, they have their coffee, and you're like
5 a.m. and it's like, wow.
You know what it is? A lot of that is pre-recorded stuff. They've done it like they did it one day and they use the same footage over and over. But it's interesting you mentioned that. So it was only yesterday. There was like this video I came across, and they were talking about the importance of sleep and then what time you wake up and things like that. And they were saying that if sleep wasn't normal, it would be the most banned substance on the planet, because the amount of positive influence that it has on you, on your hormones, on your body and your recovery. If you were an athlete and you were to take a drug called sleep, you'd be banned from any sport, because that's how much of a powerful effect it has on you. And checking the phones as well. So because the light and natural light is the best for you, right? So something like that, like, you know, I think the study showed that you should switch off your phone at 8, and you should switch off your TV by 8 as well, or 8:30. And then the next hour or so, go without any technology, and you'll actually feel like, you know, more relaxed, more calm, and sleep better.
I actually have a setting on my phone that it turns on automatically, I think, after 8 and like after 8 p.m. and before like 9 a.m. or something, where it's more yellow, because it's better for your eyes and you sleep better.
Wait, is that why we can't get you on emails before?
No. I still reply, just my phone changes like the color.
Yeah.
I love in the morning, I always just sit there in silence. Like when I'm getting driven to the train station, it's just like a silent agreement within my family that we just don't talk. We just sit there and we listen to the radio or whatever, and it's just like, it's so nice. Because, you know, we're all going into work, college, and school, wherever it is, and we're going to be socializing, talk to people all day. And I don't want to drain my social battery too early. I want to just sit in the car, might have a takeaway cup of tea or whatever it is, and
Smart.
I just...
Yeah.
But that's a really interesting... It's a popular area of research, what you just talked there, and it's really interesting for like my generation, let's say, without revealing my age. But what you'll find is that, like me as a 90s kid, right? If you got any students or anyone, and young adults now or whoever, if you got them and asked them their coping skills and the things that they used to use when they were students, and if you look at the current generation, there's one thing that always comes back to, and it was in Mental Health Ireland, where there was a presentation on this, is that when I went to secondary school, or when I was in college, obviously with cell phones and stuff, but when I was in secondary school, this is when like mobile phones and everything was still coming through, right? But if you wanted to talk to your friends, how did you do it? You had to meet up with them in person, and that was it. Because as soon as they left, there was no way of communicating. And then the next time you would meet them, you'd have to pre-arrange it, you'd have to organize in advance, you'd have to go on the landline or whatever, and then you would only be able to interact with them when they were there. So what did that do? Number one, it gave you clear headspace that you're not constantly in the same conversation or constantly under stimulus. So during the presentation, they asked us, they were like, that time period when you were either A, getting the bus home, getting picked up from school, going to college or whatever, what did you do in that time period? And everyone said the same thing. I sat there and I thought about my thoughts, and I was aware of what I was feeling. I was able to work through it. So by the time I got home, I didn't carry all of that with me. I had time to work through my things. But what happens nowadays is that as soon as you have a minute alone, and you see people do this, the phone comes out straight away.
Yeah.
Because we're so afraid to be alone with our own thoughts. And then your phone comes out straight. I know that got really deep, sorry guys. Suddenly everyone's like, oh my God. Well, it's building up to all. I'm selling the podcast for the future. But also the workshops, guys, because there's a lot of interesting things you can,
definitely,
take from that.
Sometimes I actually, because I have to get the train and the Lewis into college, sometimes I just put in earphones and I don't play any music. But a woman last week, she seemed really nice. I doubt she's going to listen to this, so I think it's okay to say. And it was lashing rain, and it was like dark. It was 7:30, and I was sitting for the train, and I was just like, my coat was just saturated. She just kept talking to me, and I was like, I have earphones in. And she was so lovely, so I just kept talking to her. But I actually was just like, please, I need my 20 minutes of just sitting in silence. So it's just like, I don't know, I think that's something I'm so aware of now. I wouldn't really talk to people on public transport anyway. But I think just having those moments.
It's something really minute, but I guarantee you, if any of you guys out there are having that issue where you're really wound up after work, or it's a really stressful day, or you're just, after having a bad interaction with someone, or whatever the case may be, give yourself the 5-10 minutes, right? Just disconnected and just, be in that moment and then move on to your next thing. Give yourself that 5-10 minutes. You will see the world of difference. There's a couple of people I work with, like, let's say more mature students or older students, who say they have the same thing, where it's like, I finish work and I get home, and as soon as I walk into the door, the wife starts asking me a million questions about my day. Right? I know Natalia laughed there, because Natalia will be asking those questions. But, but this is in any relationship, right? As soon as you walk in, and all guys can testify to this as well, where it's like, as soon as I walk in the door, just give me 2 seconds, and the girls as well. Like, when you go in and your mom asks you straight away, what did you do? But if you give yourself that 5-10 minute break, and like, there are people that will say, like, I finished office, I go home, I sit in my car for 10 minutes alone, and then I go into the house. And it's something so minuscule like that will just ground you back, and it will just, make the next few hours much easier. So, it's a good investment. 10 minutes for the rest of the day, it's a great investment.
Yeah. I also find sometimes on the train I'll write lists of things I need to do, but I always write the list in a notebook, like on pen and paper, not in my phone, not on my laptop or anything. Like, if I have an assignment due and I'm like struggling to get it done in time, I can do it on the train, but I try not to. I think that's also, because otherwise if you're writing your list on your phone, you're just going to get distracted. And it's not, and like 8 a.m. in the morning, it's like, it's not where you should be, Yeah.
No, it's okay. We're waiting for the little silence to kind of let people have that minute. I want that silence minute break. Yeah. Right now, all the listeners were like, oh, did my volume turn off? Did my AirPod fall out? No, it isn't. We wanted to give you that little bit of silence just to see what it would feel like. Like, how comfortable is silence for you? And you get a little bit more comfortable. But you get a little bit more comfortable as it goes on, And this is one of those things that you get accustomed to very easily, because your brain wants to relax. It doesn't want constant stimulation the whole time. Contrary to TikTok belief, but your brain does need a bit of a break.
I think it's the same way, like, when you're with friends, like a really, really close friend, for example. Like, I wouldn't be awkward if there's a silence between us. But if I meet somebody for the first time and there's this awkward silence, I'm like, oh my god, I have to say something. And like, I get stressed. But the better I know a person, the more silent I can be with a person.
It's such an odd phrase as well, awkward silence. I don't think there's such a thing. I think silence is good. And a fun example for that is, if you're ever in class and the lecturer goes quiet, suddenly everyone's paying attention, because the silence brought their attention back in. Because otherwise it's just noise, and then suddenly, wait a minute, something's gone quiet. I'm going to ask a question here, and I don't know what we were talking about. But yeah, I think you have another question for us lined up.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are you guys extroverted or introverted?
Very good.
Depends on my mood. Like, sometimes they're just like, please don't talk to me. But sometimes I'm just like, hi guys, let's do something. Can I hug you or something? Just like,
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, no, please, just
go
I
away.
need a minute.
I think when I'm tired, I become definitely more introverted because I don't know. It's a different language as well, so I feel like it's just harder to have a
This
conversation.
is so true.
Yeah, but then I would say usually like I would get energy from talking to people. So I know what you guys said earlier. Like I would actually be like excited when I get a chance to talk to somebody, or when I come home like, oh, like say hi to my boyfriend immediately and talk him, like ask him all the questions. But then
And he says, "Wait, give me 5 minutes."
He listened to our podcast, so he knows it's okay.
He knows.
Yeah, but no, when I'm tired, like I definitely need like space for myself.
Yeah, but I think it's good to have those kind of like lines and those boundaries with the people that you're living with, to be able to just be like, shut off and just be like, no, I want to be by myself. And I think I've always described myself as a chatty introvert. I'm introverted at nature. I love being at home and like in my own surroundings. I'm chatty, so it kind of gives the wrong impression, I think.
It's not a wrong impression. I think it's you're welcoming to people.
Also, I think it's like a spectrum as well. Like, I don't think you're either introverted or you're extroverted, or you're somewhere along the line of it. And you can be like, I don't know, 30% introverted, I don't know, 70% extroverted.
Yeah, and it does depend on the day as well, like you said.
Marcello, what about you?
The silence means I'm introverted.
No, and that's totally okay. You know, that it depends on the environment you're in, depends on the mood you're in as well. Because you have to look after yourself first. But something I just noticed here as well. So for like the listeners can't see us, but for you two guys, your first even for me as well, my first language wouldn't be English, right? So like when you're about to say something, you think it in your own language first and then say that. Yeah.
I don't actually do that.
I don't.
You don't do that? No. I used to. Sorry, it's just me. I need 5 minutes.
You know, when you like wake up and then have to speak like English straight away, you just feel like, oh, my brain. It's just like, can you just give me a minute? It's just like, to kind of like
switch.
I don't think that first important is then English.
In my case, it's a mix of every single thing that I know. So I'm constantly being bombarded by different languages, and
everything
in the middle of a sentence, I'm like, wait, what's that word?
So that's the thing. Like, so for me, it used to be like that, where I'd like not like recently, but like when I was younger, it would be like, oh, I have to think it in this and then say it. Then it becomes second nature, obviously. But it's a strange thing, because you'll notice that you're more introverted or extroverted, also depending on the language you're speaking.
100%.
Yeah. So are you more extroverted like when you're speaking Brazilian?
No, I'm more I'm more extroverted in Portuguese.
In Portuguese, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm more introverted in English.
Yeah. And would that be the same for you, Charly?
No, but I noticed with my boyfriend, like, he's Irish, so his first language is English, but he learned a lot of like German, and he spends a bit of time in Germany because that's where I'm from. And his German would be quite good, but I noticed as soon as he like goes to Germany, he becomes super introverted, and he is the most extroverted person I know. He talks to everyone. He doesn't care like what everyone thinks. But as soon as he speaks German, he becomes quiet, and everybody's always like, "Oh, your boyfriend is so quiet and shy," and I'm like, "No, see him in English."
I actually never would have considered that. Obviously, I knew that English would be your first language, but I never considered it being draining.
It is.
I never would have, like, actually, I knew it would be difficult, obviously, but I never would have actually thought of the actual mental impact.
But do you speak Gaelic?
Yeah.
Yeah. So try it for like the next day, right? And before you say anything in English, think of it in Gaelic first, then say it in English.
I don't know how good my accent is. I went to the Grail Talk twice.
Well, fair. I didn't do Irish either. But if all our listeners out there, if you would want to test yourself, give it a go.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think it changes at what time though. Like, I noticed when I moved to Ireland, like, I would be drained in the evenings. I'd be so tired. I'd become super introverted. I would just not speak to anyone, just because like speaking English all day is so exhausting. But now, like, I wouldn't have that anymore. At least not as much anymore. So,
is there any advice you'd give to students then on how you kind of dealt with the introvertedness? And then to like actually cope with it.
I think just accept the fact that like it's normal to feel that way. It's normal to become more shy when you're tired and like to speak a different language. Like you're like, it's so amazing that you're speaking a different language in general. Yeah. So just accept it, and you can say that to other people as well. Like I think they'll always understand if you tell them, look guys, this is not my first language. I'm sorry if I'm a bit more quiet than usual.
Yeah, and it's really important because like a lot of our students, like, you know, especially the international students, you have to remember like you're coming to a different country first of all, and then, it's not your native language, so it's going to be a little bit, of a teething curve. And, in the Irish culture, we like to use a lot of slang as well. So they don't tell you that when you come to the airport. So you have to kind of go with that too. But one thing I always remember is, if you guys have watched Modern Family, so Sofia Vergara, the actress on that show. Yeah. So she was doing an interview, and they were asking her some stuff, and they were asking her kind of jokey questions. And she just said, in my language, I'm a genius. But if I was to talk to you in my language, you would look like the one that's kind of struggling. So she was like, just remember that there are kind of, there's checks and balances, and you have to give people that opportunity. So be open, be accepting of hearing other people's, give them that time.
Yeah.
I think just kind of to finish up then is just for a fun question, what's your highlight of your week? What's a good thing that has happened to you or someone could have done for you, or just something that you're like, wow, life is good? It could be something small.
I think mine actually happened last night, because my cousin moved to Ireland 2 weeks ago, so just recently, and so I hadn't seen her in a while, and last night she just rang the doorbell and showed up. She didn't give me any text, she didn't call me in advance, she just showed up, and it was just so unexpected because it was like 11:30 or something, but it was just so nice to see her again, and just like
did she wait outside for 5 minutes before she came?
I don't know.
I'm going to make that into a meme. I want all our students to be like, give me 5 minutes.
So yeah, that was really, really nice because it was so unexpected.
That's
and because
so lovely.
It was like back in the day, like when I was a kid, I would always show up at my neighbours or my friend's house, just ring the doorbell hey, are you around? Are you free to play? And I feel like that didn't happen for a long time because we have phones, and we just give a quick message, oh, are you home? Can I come by? And just actually coming by is so nice.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. I'm trying to think myself. I think special, yeah. For me, now I'm moving out, so I'm changing the house, and me and Marcello, we are flatmates, and I'm really sad that I'm actually have to leave the house.
No.
And it just made me feel just made me think of all the times we go to Lidl together or cook. He cooks wow. So he cooks for me, and then we just having dinner together. That moment meant to me a lot, and I feel I'm gonna miss that. So today we're gonna have one of these moments of the week, probably because we're gonna have dinner together for the last time, in the same house. So yeah,
a lot of pressure on Marcello for tonight's dinner.
Easy. I got it.
I feel friendship is something that really makes me happy.
That's really nice.
I'm gonna jump on the same boat. I'm looking forward for the dinner this evening because it will be the last time we'll be living together. And whenever you part away from people that you like to be around, people that you love, it always hurts a little bit. But it's nice to know that you can always sometimes have moments with them again and enjoy the little things.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You really do enjoy the little things more often than not. It's more intimate that way as well, but also there's more value in it. You could have been going out for dinner somewhere and it wouldn't have nearly as much of an impact. Yeah. And it's more of spending time together.
And I cook better than that.
Yeah. I say for me this week would have been when I went to the bowling with the SU. It was just nice to see all the students back in action, just kind of being out there doing their thing. But mainly for the SU as well. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of grind, and these are volunteer roles, and these guys are doing that for all our students, and it was nice to see them just having their fun, kind of bonding, getting to know each other as well. So I think for me that was kind of fun to see. It was because it kind of reminded me of my days back in the SU, and the stuff that you remember is not we stayed up till 9 to do this video, or we stayed up past 7 to do the meetings and whatever. You don't remember that stuff. The stuff you remember is, we went to bowling, or we went to Bundoran, and we went to this event, and we went to that event, and the funny memories you have. That's the stuff you remember. You won't remember the meetings.
Yeah.
But thank God.
But then the next year, just feel you realize, oh my God, they're actually my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The bond that we just have during the year. We just feel at the end, I was part of FCU last year, and then this year, I saw Lauren, she's president. I'm so proud of her. We worked together last year, and then you see people just getting jobs, or even Ryan, Iona, Cass, they all got job after SU. Yeah. So you feel
you see people growing, you know.
Yeah.
In such a short amount of time as well, like, 'cause I met most of you guys like only
In Bundoran last year.
in Bundoran.
It was,
yeah,
yeah.
like 3 months ago or something, and I feel like we all like grew so close together in such a short time, which is so special.
And the message to the listeners is that, like, look, you're in college now, right? Well, unless you're not in DBS and you listen to this podcast, well then, hello.
Hi to you.
Hi to you. But no, like, you know, you'll come to classes, right? And I say this during inductions as well, is that you will come to classes and you'll get your, even if you go bare minimum, you'll get your 40% and you'll pass, and you'll go through your undergrad and you'll go through your masters and you'll pass, right? That's fine, you'll do all that. But will you look back in 10, 15 years time and be like, oh, thank God I made it to that class 5 minutes early? No, you're not going to. What you are going to remember is, oh, I'm actually glad I went to that event, or I'm actually glad I met all these people. Because college is where you will literally meet your friends for life, or you'll meet your partners, or you'll meet whatever. But college is where it really happens. That you're going to meet so many like-minded individuals doing so many different amazing things, and people have stories from all around the world, and you know, you just got to be a sponge for that. Absorb it, share it, be involved in it.
Come to our events, guys. There's a lot of great ones. This is being released on the 10th of October, so it's Mental Health Awareness Day today, because you're listening to it now, I'm sure. And there's wine and paint on tonight, and we're all going to be there. And we also do well-being walks pretty much every week, and there, if you don't want to go into the kind of the bigger events where there's loads of people, there's loads of music and drinking, and these are the more chilled events, equally as fun, I would say. And we get to go on walks around over to Stephen's Green, and it's really nice to just take a break, get some fresh air between classes. So definitely do get involved. You meet loads of new friends, like Hamza was saying, and that's where you make your memories. We're also going to be releasing a survey, guys, so please do fill it out, because we want to hear how you guys are doing and coping with everything in college, and we want to hear about how we can help you and support you guys more.
Yeah. And sign up for the podcast sign-ups for, what's it called, getting involved, because there's going to be student ones as well. So you'll see links out for the peer mentors. They're going to be wanting you guys to come in and share your experiences. We're going to do some roundtable podcasts. So you can sign up for all those things, Clubs and Socks sign-up day. Get involved. Maybe you'll be here recording a podcast with us, and then you can give us your tips and tricks and your advice and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So look out for that.
There's something for everyone, guys. So just you just gotta find your thing.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you missed any parts, just rewind and go back. And if you're not a
Take
DBS
5
student,
minutes for yourself.
exactly. Actually, yeah, this podcast could be your time, you know, in between going back home from college or between work and this and that. So hopefully you like the nice sound, soothing voice.
Yes. Hope you enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.